Welcome, everybody. I try to notify people, but then I look at it, I go, man, I'm notifying. Maybe I should have had this a little bit later on, but um, give people more notice. But I just kind of just decided to do this real quick. And the reason I'm going to do it, you'll find out real quickly here, because I'm going to kind of jump in. I'm not going to talk a long time and give you a bunch of updates. I already gave that yesterday and other things. So let's just go ahead and jump into it right now and get into the crux of the matter about angels, demons, and fallen entities and stuff like that. And so let's just kind of jump right in on that. Well, let me tell you this. Christian apologist Melissa Dougherty recently did a podcast about 2 days ago about a new age guru called Esther Hicks. Esther Hicks. In the video, Esther claims that she can channel for a group of peaceful, loving spiritual entities who call themselves Abraham, or also they call themselves the infinite intelligence, who were sent to reveal the secrets of the universe to mankind, humankind, that's needed to achieve success, prosperity, health, the law of attraction, achieve happiness and success, to find yourself a brand new will and a brand new way. This When I listened to her podcast, this reminded me of something that I once confronted, and I'm going to kind of like dive right in. So before I do, if Melissa Dowdery is listening to this, I don't know if she'll ever will. Just know that I always will give credit to who's I will do, and I would suggest that you look in the description right up front there, and you'll see that I included her link to her podcast there, and I recommend you guys watch it. Please do. It's very good, very well done. Of course, she does great, fantastic work as well. I know she probably doesn't know me from Adam, and that's okay. And she probably wouldn't agree with everything I talk about anyway, and that's okay. I mean, I'm a Christian apologetics person too, and whatever. And anyway, um, we have different paths, different things like that. What, my nose is running. Excuse me. Sorry, this is live. So anyway, so let's just kind of dive in and find out who this Esther Hicks is and how she channels and talks about the law of attraction and how and what she says. And I'm going to get into this in just a second here. With that, we're going to kind of go right into the intro. Like I said, I was going to be talking at length about this Esther Hicks that Melissa Dowdery recently talked about. I'm not trying to steal Melissa's thunder. She just, through this podcast, she spoke something and it reminded me of something that I went through in 1980. And I know she probably wouldn't agree with my book, but here's my book, A Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion. And I'm going to quote from it. And the reason I'm doing it because Melissa asked near the end of the video, and I don't know if I thought of writing it, but I doubt if she would ever read my answer on here. But if she ever gets this, she asked a question, why the word salad? Why do these things speak in word salads? Because Esther Hicks was channeling and she was speaking word salad. And word salad to these things is a Grimoire, spell casting thing. And that's what struck me. And I'll read from my book and correlate this stuff. And I hope I can make it make sense. But anyway, before I do, I'll talk about the video a little bit. So Esther Hicks is this new age guru who had this seminar in Santa Fe. I've been to Santa Fe, and Santa Fe is a weird place, but that's to be expected. But anyway, my wife and I liked the place, but it was too weird. Bad. This didn't feel right, anyway. And, and Melissa went to this conference. Why is a Christian going to this conference? And she answers that question in her video. And in a way, we're similar. I go to First Nations people. I go to the traditional medicine grounds and I talk to people there. Why do you do that? I talk to shamans, I talk to medicine men, and I talk to people that are involved in the occult world. And a lot of the stuff in my series on the occult world I've been doing, the occult world series. Not the baseball game, but I deal with that subject. I also deal with Christian apologetics and all that, but I'm trying to warn people about how these entities speak. And so her video was so good, and it showed how they operate. And so she went to a New Age conference to hear Esther Hicks. She knows who she is. I don't know Esther Hicks from Eve. I don't know who she is, and never heard of her, and just did a little bit of investigation on her just before I came on. But basically, she's a New Age guru that channels entities known as Abraham. A group of Abrahams are a new intelligence, are the new mind. And the New Age movement brings out these qualities. And I don't know if Melissa Dougherty could borrow this. She can. She knows it better than I do. And I'm going to bring some slides up because I'll show you how they work. Because she quoted them and these things, and what they try to do is they appeal to you. So it's all about you. It's all about. If you ever read Alice Bailey and Theosophy and mind science stuff, I dabbled in the mind science a long time ago and vowed to the Lord I would never pick that stuff up, and I never have and never will ever do that again. But when I look at this stuff here and I read Alice Bailey in my research, this is all research, and I'll show you what they're doing. This is what Esther Hicks does. She channels, and I want to bring this slide up. This is the 7 rays of initiation. This is an old slide. Forget about the 7 root races. I'm not talking about that. You have the ray to will to achieve power, and it produces spiritual coercion to get what one wants. It's about power, being divine. I'm going to go over here. It's the energy of will, purpose, and power to carry forth the will of Lucifer is what it is. But also it's all about you. It's all about you. The second ray that they entice you with and get you in the New Age movement is all about love. In the New Age movement, they talk love is love. Everything's about love. It's love is love. It's all about you. First is the will to achieve power. It's all about you with capital Y's. It's you, baby. It's a brand new you. How to achieve a better you. How to create your world. How to have the law of attraction. How to create your own universe. Speak with words of power and all that garbage that has crept into the church as well. And then you come in, and what's the excuse? We're doing this for love. We're creating a better world where we have love. That's the second ray of initiation into this deception. And the final deception is to be like God. I'll show you that in a second. And the third ray second ray is ray of love and wisdom. I call it narcissistic self-love. It's all done for the betterment of humanity, okay? And ray of activity, adaptability, activating human intelligence to live subjectively, reject objective reality. Um, it's a way to connect to a spirit guide for the entire population. In other words, this is a false Holy Spirit. So you have in the first 3 rays of initiation that Alice Bailey talks about. Basically, it's getting people into this mindset without them realizing they're going into Luciferianism or the occult world, because you butter them up. If you come there with a devil with a pitchfork, but you're not going to come like that. You're going to come as an angel of light. It's all about you, baby. And we're doing this all about love. Love is love. Our love is superior to anyone else's. We have to get everybody into unity in the third ray of initiation, in order for humanity to come into this oneness, because you are a shard of the divine. You are, as Hermeticism says, you are a shard of the divine, and you forgot that you are divine. And now the Father has amnesia, and the Son is trying to help put everything back together through the divine feminine. I won't get into all that. That's Gnosticism. But then all of a sudden, once humanity realizes that they are divine, God gets put back together, then this utopic world creates. But in order to do that, you have to get everybody united through a false Holy Spirit in this unity concept. Okay, how is that achieved? I'll show you in this slide. It's the next four rays of attribute. It's the energy of harmony through conflict. You change and alter the human family, society, and culture. That's what you do. You do that. You have to destroy the Judaic Christian system and impose this superior one where it's all about you. It's all about love. We all think alike, smell alike, all go in the New Age movement. We live in this perfect world, and we go, woohoo! I love you, baby. Oh, I love everybody. Well, I want to hug a tree. Where's a polar bear I can kiss? All that crazy stuff, just the New Age movement. Um, but anyway, that's that's how they get there. Then they want to unite everybody into a collectivist mindset. This is why Alice Bailey loved totalitarian systems. She channeled just like Esther Hicks does. And I read Theosophists, some modern ones. I think I even read some of her stuff, but I can't remember. I may have even quoted some in my video without realizing who I was quoting. But anyway, and so these Theosophists are all about collectivism. They prefer a spiritual communism. To get rid of the old Stalinist communism, get this new collectivist communism, destroy the social order, destroy Christianity, destroy the Judaic Christians, and institute this new world because, after all, it follows Gnosticism. I'm giving you a brief summary of what Gnosticism is. Gnosticism, this is just the root kind of Valentinius type of Gnosticism. I don't have time to go into all the details, but if you follow my channel, you know what I'm going to say. And basically, there's this demiurge, the Judaic Christian God, who was created accidentally by Sophia, the wisdom, who's going to make amends right by getting rid of the demiurge she created. How? Through secret knowledge, okay? And so the Lucifer, who is the creator of all things, is this going to have to get rid of the demiurge, and so Sophia will have to make it right with humanity to get everybody back into the secret gnosis, the secret knowledge that you are divine. Hermeticism, it's all about coming into divinity. Theosophy is all about coming into divinity. You reach your divine state, put God back together. Gnosticism, you enter into a pure spirit state. The material world is not what it's supposed to be. The material world was created by the demiurge, Judaic Christian God. Sophia is going to help bring chaos into the world to destroy it so everybody becomes a pure spirit being. This is sick thinking. You can find this template about becoming divine, pure spirit, divine being, putting all these shards of all this stuff back together. You can do that. And you can find all that stuff, but all follows these rays of initiation. Just keep tracking with me. And you get to the fourth ray of initiation here. It's harmony through conflict. So how do you make everybody, have the energy of will and power where it's all about you? You deceive them about love and you put a new type of love into them and all this stuff, a new age kind of love and a groovy type of love, of tolerance, equity, inclusion. We love everybody except Christians and conservatives. Anybody who voted for Trump, that's just a given. You can't do that. But we're all inclusive. We're loving. But, if you don't agree with us, we don't have a problem getting rid of you because you're the enemy and we're justified, all that stuff. And everybody has to be united in the spirit. So they have to realize that they are divine. You're on your way to divinity. And how do you get there? You have to destroy the order through the fourth ray of initiation, through harmony, through conflict. You alter society, culture, everything. How do you get there? Is the fifth ray of initiation's energy of concrete knowledge or science. In other words, this is new science plans. You form secret guilds, groups. This is new science, new types of education, new types of mathematics. Don't you ever, if you have kids, a while back when I was in college, we were learning all this junk, and the new education and new math was coming in, and it was brought in by Bush and all that stuff. It's horrible stuff. But anyway, new math, new science, new this, new that, and you can't question this. It's a new narrative. And it's very educated. This is where you take over all the cultural mountains of influence, according to Alice Bailey. just shortening it. I could quote every single thing. That's where it comes from. The Seven Mountain Mandate and stuff. I'm telling you, dominionism comes straight from Alice Bailey from the pit of hell. And it's part of the fifth ray of initiation, concrete knowledge. We need to change things. Okay. And then the next one is the energy of devotion or idealism, producing current ideologies to further the plans for a better you, a plan of all love, a plan of unifying everybody into a collective. How do you do that? You got to insert a new ideology in them. Where do you think wokeness comes from? We're living in an open spiritual warfare, and people just don't know it. And I don't think people are really paying attention to it, especially in the church, and many people are ignoring it. But now they're seeing wokeness, and through spiritual warfare, you need to pray that the stuff exposes and people reject it outright and say no to it. You really do, because that's what we got to do. Okay, so let's continue here. I'm going to look here at this one, the energy of ceremony, order, ritual magic, producing new form of civilization to reach the final one. That final one where all the shards of humanity realize they're divine and they put God back together, so they create this utopia, Hermeticism, this basic Hermeticism, Gnosticism. The world is wiped out during the seventh root race age, and then everybody becomes pure spirit. They're divine. You basically go back to what is known as the first root race stage. You're floating around as a pre-existent entity in the mind of Lucifer, chilling out. You actually be swimming laps in a lake of fire. But the whole idea of this is rays of initiation. And so when I'm hearing Miss Hicks talk during this seminar that Melissa Dougherty talked about, I saw all that. I saw all the rays of initiation being imposed by the questions that was going on in there. So what do I mean by questions? Well, Melissa Dougherty's video here goes on and broadly speaking, she's sitting away from there, sitting in the back, chilling out, taking notes and listening to all this stuff. And, things similar to things I do with medicine men and talk to them, but a little more dangerous, I think, where I go. But anyway, I digress. You got to see this because you need to look at the video. So I'm just going to quote something that happened. I'm going to bring this up in my notes here. And I taken this off of her a transcript. And so the thing is that people want to talk to Abraham. Esther's going to Esther's going to channel these entities called Abraham, the divine intelligence, the divine mind. Well, the divine intelligence, Alice Bailey would call us the hierarchy. We call them fallen watchers. We call them our demons or the fallen Nephilim, whatever. But mostly fallen watchers, your spirit guides. And this is Abraham. This is a play on a new father of many nations. You're going to bring everybody together into unity of that third ray of initiation. And that's what this stuff is talking about. But I won't go that far into it right now. And so Melissa stated that she noticed that Abraham was made in the plural form as they, so it referred to all the entities speaking. So this person is channeling demonic entities. She's channeling them. And so she has these people sitting in a chair, and as they're sitting in a chair, these people can ask questions about life, whatever. And so so the person asks a question, and they are most of them, according to Melissa, a lot of them have been interrupted. And I listened to her and watched this thing, and I'm going, wow, this is creepy. And I'll quote what it says. Here's one of the entities speaking through Esther. And after this person asks a question, I still know I'm still on the process of some. And that's that's one of the questions. And this thing interrupted. But we get it. But what's your question? Interrupts the person. This begins to interrupt the person. Now, so God is living happily ever after God's will. That's right. You be joyful beings, not that you improve or that you know right. And so, why do you think the way you think and choose the words, other words? And so basically they were talking in word salad. And you wonder why Marxists talking word salads. Well, it's word salads are verbal cues to a Marxist like, old Kamala Harris said, what you would say, we can become unburdened by what has been. That is a loose quote from Karl Marx. To be unburdened by what has been, to become pure spirit being, pure species beings, back to what you were created to be, a collectivist. Basically, it follows the same rays of initiation, oddly enough, because it comes from the same source. It is talk word salads, but is it word salads? No, it is a Gomorrah. It's a Grimoire. A Grimoire. Let me pronounce that right. A Grimoire. It is the art of spell casting. That's what that word salad is. And so it will interrupt people to get them to submit or shame them into compliance, or maybe people will hear they'll hear something out of the word salad and they go, that's profound. What has been, and being unburdened by the Judaic Christian system, that's what's been. We'll be unburdened by it and enter this utopia. I understand the word salad. Hallelujah. And after all, Kamala Harris was and is and will always be, from as far as I can tell, unless she repents, a devout communist. Don't fool yourself. We were entering in a time of, I call it the American Maoist Revolution. Last 4 years we had. Some of you in Europe are still going through that. And I'll stop myself before I go into that. So this other person asked a question: how do you deal with loved ones and naysayers? And this is what this entity spoke out of this lady, Miss Hicks. Well, you got to be ready for them because, when I misquote that, I quote, well, you got to be ready for them because that's what we meant by segment, intending into the segment. So it would go something like this. For some reason, I struggle, and not for some reason. And then this person will help me understand, okay? And it's not about action, it's about expectation. I want to experience that life. I love life and that I have, and I know that there is life, so let's get off the subject. We're going to tell you a story. So they got off the subject of the question and talked word salads. This is designed to be hypnotic. Really, it's designed to be totally hypnotic. Why do I say that? So I'm going to go refer to my book. Not trying here to promote my book, but definitely when you self-publish, most of you have read my book and you mentioned how it impacted your life. Thank God. I just praise the Jesus for that. And so so I just wrote in my book on several pages. And for those of you who don't know my book, A Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, this is my testimony. I had an after-death experience. Of course, that is controversial, and if you disagree with that, that's perfectly okay with me. You have the right to, and a lot of Christians will disagree with me. And all I can say is, your fellow believers, you have a right to criticize. That's fine. Okay. I love you, forgive you, so let's just kind of move on. We're all on the same team. Jesus did say, I'm all about getting people saved. I believe in salvation by grace through faith alone, and through I also believe in the substitutionary atonement and the resurrection and the power of the resurrection of Christ. And then I preach the gospel. Most of you know that. So, and I try to show you how the occult world has infiltrated the church and all that, and try to help people come out of it and see stuff. So in my book, I was describing how some of these things spoke, and so like I said earlier in my, sometimes I would say these creatures, when they spoke to me, these demonic hosts or these angelic beings, fallen ones that are down there, when they spoke to me, their words were extremely foul, but they spoke in this kind of rhyme. And I mentioned it many, many times. And it's rhyme. And I realized after listening to Melissa's Dougherty podcast, that's what was happening here when it was channeling and speaking word salad. And I'll demonstrate. It's in my book. And this book was published 2005. So it's not something I just added. Anyway, So here's one I just put here, page 76. It says here, page 76, dimension of eternity hold no bounds. A small area can appear as big as a country or small as an ant's hole. Okay, pretty self-explanatory, because without seeing inside of a cube, all that, and sometimes they talk coherently, and it wasn't a rhyme, but it's very hypnotic. I describe it. Um, No, I went fishing and I confronted snakes, and especially water moccasins. They're very aggressive, and you have a stringer of fish or whatever, you find a good fishing hole. I don't want the snakes to have it. I want to fish there, but when there's one water moccasin, there's probably 20. And so they come up out of there and they come at you real fast, but they're moving. They're moving back and forth, and if you don't know that's a snake and your mind can't wrap it, you're hypnotically in place there. Then it will strike you and bite you. Copperheads are a little different. Rattlesnakes are a little different. Eastern diamondbacks and stuff encountered them, as well as copperheads back east. Rattlesnakes here, prairie rattlers and stuff, mountain rattlers, all kinds of rattlesnakes out here, out here in Colorado. But anyway, when they come at you, that's what it reminds me of. It's very hypnotic what these things are saying. And I said that many times. And so it kept saying, "Come and see; it's been granted to thee." And so things like that it would say. But then I heard things like this, as I say on page 82 of my book. I'm just going to read what this one entity was injecting into the mind, or speaking. The way is broad. Enter here, enter there, it matters not where. Enter here, enter there, it matters not how. Follow me here, follow me there, it matters not where, just follow me here. Sounds like word salad. It sounds like when I listened to what this person was channeling on Melissa Dougherty's excellent video. This is what it reminded me of: demons talking, because it is. It's a grimoire. It is a art of spell casting. They're trying to hook. I remember this explicitly. Of course, the language is quite different, more foul, but it doesn't make sense, and it's kind of pulling you in this direction you don't really want to go. And if it wasn't for the Lord helping me at this time, and at the time I didn't know it, but he simply helped me by telling me before I went to this place to say his name and his title, and that's the only thing that saved me is Jesus, because he granted me permission. I don't even know why. Now I do why, because I'm trying to warn people about fake New Age type near-death experience, just like a lot of us who had real NEDs after death experience are trying to warn you about the fake ones. And I have it. I wrote this in 2005. My chapter about deer pudding explains how people can be deceived in hell thinking they're in paradise. And they've been resuscitated. Some people get resuscitated, they come back, and they talk about they see heaven, go to the light. Everything they say is related to the New Age movement becoming divine. Go figure. Okay, I look back and I go, why did this happen to me? All these years later, Lord basically showed me, you got to warn people. Not everything that glitters is gold. There's a heaven and there's a hell. Okay, and try to warn people where you want to go, and try to answer tough questions, especially who are doubters and people who are in movements like the New Age or whatever, and try to help them see the light, so to speak, the real light of Jesus. That's what it reminded me. Enter here, enter there. It's very. So if you read my book and think of the snake going like this, as you read it, you begin to see what I mean. And when you hear the video of the quotes of what this thing is saying, it's a word salad, but it's a grimoire. It is an actual spell casting. The measure at the seminars, at the Esther Hicks seminar in Santa Fe, that was used to hypnotize the audience. So somebody in the audience would hear one thing, follow me here. That's all they would hear. And they get, I got a great revelation. Another one would hear, I'm using my book as an example, the way is broad. Everybody's going the Broadway. I got a revelation from that. And so there's many entities this person is channeling. So this sounds strange to people, but that will happen in an audience to hook the audience. And then all of a sudden, the audience, if there's somebody in the chair that disagrees and confronts this person, the audience will be used to psychologically shame the person for attacking Guru. I've seen it. I saw it again on Melissa Dougherty's excellent video. And that's what I'm talking about. Okay? And it goes on in page 82. Some enter here and are moved to where the boxes grow. Others enter there through the spinning tubes where the boxes wait. It matters not how, as long as many keep entering this grand palace. When you read my book, you go, what in the world are you talking about? I'm hypnotizing people that come to the pit of hell is what these things are doing. I'll give you a few more examples out of my book so you get an idea here. And in verse 91, I heard the guide say, I'm just going to just, time to leave, follow me, curse God, curse me, how can this be? How can the Most High leave him be? Crying, curse God, curse me, how can the Most High let him be? Justice, ha, God has none. I was confronted with all kinds of things. I remember it explicitly and I have not forgot it. Things like that. Designed to challenge and hypnotize you to reject God because you can't fathom a place called of eternal recompense or even eternity. It's a long time. Be punished. Am I going to be punished for temporal sin? I mean, a temporary sin. It's the hubris of the heart of totally rejecting Christ in the exaltation of self above God, and the devil's trying to get everybody to become divine in their own God. Believe the lie. I'm just telling you, and it does it very subtly. You're it. So you got narcissists and psychopaths. I mean, I work in the criminal justice system. My primary function is working with the criminal element. Later, I dealt with managed treatment teams for sex offenders, and well trained in that. And I was dealing a lot with psychopaths and extraordinarily clever narcissists, and and I see that in their speech as well. They will charm people, and they'll speak coherently, but they charm people, and they have no empathy. When you see them, you'll never forget it, and they're the same traits are in them all. It's an amazing thing. Even the psychiatrist the psychiatrist actually told me, she looked at me and she goes, I wish we could do exorcisms. And I perked my interest up. I go, really? Have you went before the Colorado State Sex Offender Management Board to ask them? She goes, yes, but they turned it down because there's a conflict of church and state. So even in the secular world, people who deal with this evil will talk about how they enchant and they kind of dance around. And that's what this lady was doing, and many of these entities were probably speaking into people, and they were hearing things. So people even today hear things like this. This is out of my book, saying 92. These thoughts, these things were injecting thoughts into your mind to be seductively whispering, yes, how could God let people come here? It's referring to hell. Many of the people seen were fairly decent folk. Why this place? That poor man left crying on the road. How could someone leave him here forever? Look at all these people inside their boxes. How can this continue like this and God be so fair, so loving, so kind? And so you go to the devil is speaking, the second ray of initiation. Their love and devotion to the hierarchy, their love, their wisdom is far superior. They would never hurt anybody, right? And they're all about and for you, that first ray of initiation. And that will to achieve power, the power of love, come into unity. We'll never hurt anybody, but if you voted for a certain demographic and you don't belong and your skin colors are wrong, there's no forgiveness. But we're inclusive and tolerant and loving. The same claptrap. So that's the type of things. And I want to make a statement. I'm a student of history. And I noticed this about Eastern philosophies, and I understand this about different things. Christianity broke the mold. When you read in the Old Testament, the world back in the ancient days, Eastern and the world was ruled by revenge. Storylines, the Greek gods, and the humans' interaction with the Greek gods, revenge. It's all about revenge. And Marxism is that if you're a certain demographic or a skin color, there is absolutely no forgiveness for you, no matter what. No one ever will be. You have to pay it back for perpetuity. And they have the right to crush you because you are the oppressor. And this is how the ancient world and Eastern mindset and Eastern religions of many, many moons ago, and they still do, teach. It's all about revenge. Christianity comes in and talks about forgiveness and actual love and breaks the rays of initiation. One is about control. So the devil controls you by giving you all your desires that promise you will to achieve ultimate power. You can be a god. This is all about love and love, because our love is superior. This demiurge God, the Judeo-Christian God, dares send people to hell. How mean, how cruel. He's not loving. You've been enchanted by a serpent like that? You hear people speak that little snake talk, call it? Another one, page 114. Come on, follow me. Curse God, curse me. How can this be? This is kind of a word salad. And I remember this stuff. And there's a lot of cuss words thrown in here, and I had to take them out because this was a Christian book. My editors made me take it out. How can a Most High leave these be, crying, hurting, everyone enjoying the guest? Hurry up, curse God, curse me. How can a Most High let this be? You think that is just, huh, for one so nice as he? You know nothing yet, corrupting life. Come, you will see who corrupts life. I sure did. We do. Through the influence of the evil one. People choose darkness rather than light. They choose revenge over forgiveness. I want you to think heavy about that. And then it goes on. Who allowed the nice ones to be, letting him become as he? Dare stop him in the scenes committed? No, not even a knot. Was he stopped? A most high, just a life-corrupting rot. Mercy, not ha. And so that's what I wrote in my book. Some of these spoke. So when I heard the Melissa Dougherty's video, now I got to look at my notes. I hope I wrote the title down in it. I don't think I have the title. So let me look here. I have the title somewhere. Put the light on my face. I gotta look. Okay, Brian, where did you put it? Yeah, Melissa Dougherty's video is called "I Witnessed a Live Spirit Channeling and It Wasn't What I Expected." Melissa Dougherty, and it's in the right in the description below. You'll find it. So, folks, when you listen to that, you'll hear why they were speaking in word salads and why they were interrupting people. I went through the interruptions when I in this horrible place. I couldn't speak. I would never answer them. They are very seductive, and they get all Grimoire. Grimoire is simply a spell casting enchantment technique to get people hooked on buzzwords. You hear these types of prophecies in churches. It's word salad prophecy. People go, I heard this prophet say this, and then you listen to it. I don't hear that. This is a bunch of mumbo jumbo. This is trash. This is a demon talking. Oh no, this is a man of God. How dare you speak that about my prophet? I think I will speak about your prophet. He's wrong. He's off base. You can't make sense of this. This is demon speak. This is a grimoire being spoken. So some people will be enchanted to be followed because it's all about you. first ray of initiation. And of course, they're doing it for your loving best and interest. And you're doing it for the best because you're doing it for you think is Jesus, right? And then everybody has to be united in this spirit. And how do we get there? We got to have this war in the church. We got to put chaos into the church and get everybody to submit to us. Am I speaking to anybody here? And then you got to use science and this new science and new way of studying, new methodologies and new revelations, and we get everybody indoctrinated to think the same you collectivist way, and then through the seventh ray of initiation is ceremonial order, ritual magic to produce this new civilization, this new utopia. Then when you create this new utopia, then the Messiah, the Antichrist, can come and back and save the world. Same game plan. It doesn't change. So if Melissa Dougherty can make sense out of even what I'm saying, I'm just talking off the cuff right now because I just listened to it hours ago and trying to put this together. And I just wanted to tell people to go listen to her video, as well as if she thinks she gets this, she can contact me if she likes, and my information will be at the end of the screen, which will be shortly here, and all that. And wow, and if she and I'll talk to her if that's possible. If not, that's okay. But anyway, I know what I'm talking about. This is those things in that conference. Speaking through this one was a grimoire. Let me state it again, in which the people would hear certain aspects of the word salad, and it was like a coded buzzword that speaks to them, that draws them in, draws this group of people, and all these people are and they thought they heard the words of God Himself, but it's just a word salad. Marxists do that because it's a code. They know what they're saying. What Kamala Harris was saying, becoming unburdened by what has been, it means we are at the crux of the revolution to overthrow the Judeo-Christian system and abolish it and all become a species being. We're at the threshold. That was a buzzword. Get out and vote. Get out and destroy the order. Sow chaos. Since you can't get your way, what are they going to do? Sow chaos. This is the same stuff. You see it in the church too. Places where they're deceived. So, it's a grimoire. So with that, I'm going to kind of end it because I have an appointment I have to go to shortly. So if you'd like to contact me and everything, I'm going to put my stuff up here. My contact information, my website's afterhoursministries.com. It's an old website. I'm going to be getting a new one hopefully soon. Email is my Gmail account right there. If you want to support what I do, my PayPal information's there. You don't have to. I always tell you, it's up to you to give. You don't have to. And just note, I always have to say this. If somebody contacts you by email or phone and say they are me begging for money, I don't do that. You give as God gives to you. I don't beg for money. Okay? So those are if you'd like to support what I do, my email, contact me on any of those emails. My two books, A Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, and Heaven Beckons. My writing name is B.W. Melvin. If you don't know who I am, just look that up. I'm sure you'll get an earful of critics who criticize me. I can't do anything about it. I bless them. I move on. Do I like it? No, but because they don't know me. But anyway, that's okay. They're brothers and sisters in Christ, and that's fine. And when we all get to heaven, we can, I don't know. I don't know if they have root beer floats up in heaven, but if they do, if they have them, let's just belly up to the root beer float bar and let's have a root beer float together. Whatever, we'll have a good laugh at how we misunderstood each other. Because, yeah, I'm forgiven. I like what the Bible says. Blessed are the merciful, for they will find mercy. I like that. And the only way I know how to handle a critic, just be merciful. Turn the other cheek. Nothing you can do, and you can't say anything that would. They're part of the body of Christ. They're doing their job, I guess. So hallelujah. And anyway, with that, I'm gonna have to get going because I'm getting a phone call constantly. Where are you, Brian? Where are you? Well, I think I lost track of time, as I'm prone to do. So with that, I'm just gonna look at the live chat real quick. I don't have any time to go over any questions. This is one of the aspects of hell you describe is that I couldn't get over was the fact that the recompense was so personal rather than being everyone just burning. Yes, it's personal. That's scriptural. What one sows is what one reaps. It's in the Bible. It's in Galatians. Okay, I saw the wrong one. Suzette, hello, Suzette. How are you doing? I'm not gonna be able to answer too many of these. Fireside Grace. Okay, root beer float bar. Well, Robin, and just let me know how your wife's doing. But let's try next week to do one of our live chats. Okay, let's get that. Okay, and yeah, imagine meeting them at the field of reunion. I don't think it's going to be awkward. They'll be too happy. You're going to embrace. You're not. It's all going to be forgiven. So Mark Wolf says thank you. Okay. Mark Wolf says, those how you describe initial rhyme from Jesus and then from the lower pit guide are profound. I tried to capture this in my book the best way I could. I had to change the language and try to capture it. And this is a work of creative nonfiction. It's true, but I had to try to make it make sense because it took me a long time to try to figure out how to make this make sense. It's a lot of prayer. So I hope you get something out of it that Jesus can help you understand. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get going. A lot of people from across over in Australia, all over the place. Okay. We have a flat earther here, but anyway, I won't talk about flat earth, and people are correcting him. I'll leave that to them on the live chat. But anyway, you guys be blessed. I'm going to have to get off here and make my phone call and get to my appointment. You guys be blessed in Jesus' name until next time, and I'll see you. But also remember, watch Melissa Dougherty's excellent video, how she met somebody who was channeling. And description's in the link below. And you'll understand what I mean now. Listen to this and then listen to hers, and you'll hear the word salad. That's what word salads do. It's when these types of entities are doing or channeling, like Alice Bailey or Blavatsky or what's the other lady, White, I can't remember, but she's one of the newer theosophists, and there's some others. When they do this, there's an enchanting quality to it. And you read their trash. I mean, their works, they're trash, but you read their stuff. It's very enchanting, but it's so full of contradictions. It's frightening how deceptive these things are. One of the reasons I wrote my book, A Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, is trying to show you how deceptive these are. And one part of what I try to do is show how deceptive the kingdom of darkness really is. We do live in a physical world and amidst a spiritual world. No other way to put it. There could be many dimensions. I don't know. I can ask Josh Peck that later. Trying to get a hold of Josh to have another interview with him. And I want to talk to him about the New Age movement and some other folks if I can get them on as well as some other folks. But anyway, you guys have a blessed day, and God bless you all.